Nkosi Talk here at Nkosi Talk Shows. Find your own voice, lead from within. With me today, I have Carol Ann Cooper. How are you, Carol Ann?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Good.
So our topic today is transform your life, reinvent yourself to achieve your goals and dreams. Are you somebody who is struggling to find power of reinventing yourself and unlock full potential? So if you fall in that category, we will explore the steps to transform your life and achieve your goals and dreams. We will discuss the importance of self-reflection, embrace change, and setting realistic targets, and learn to break free from limiting beliefs and develop a growth mindset. Carol Ann, you chose this topic. Could you please explain to the audience what was in your mind when you chose this topic?
It's something I set myself earlier this year to reinvent myself, and I had no idea what it meant, what I was going to look at, what was going to turn out like. I just knew that something needed to change. And I think this is where it's something that it's worth looking at. If you feel like you perhaps haven't got what it is you've been aiming for, or there's some goals that still haven't materialized, or you feel a bit stuck in some way, maybe there's something you could do within yourself. And I just thought, I reinvent myself. And it's like, well, okay, but does it have to be something huge and big, or could it just be something small? And I think this is where it might be nice to explore that. What does actually reinventing yourself mean? What does it look like? What does it sound like? What is it? And what's the purpose of it? And how can you actually benefit from it? So that's sort of where it came from. So again, it came from this whole thing, whereas last year, I've been questioning, what is it I'm meant to be doing? I've been questioning why writing? Why is it, sort of helping people with their writing? And why am I having to do writing when there's still something there that I struggle with? But I know there's something for me to have a breakthrough. There's something to the other side of it. So there's clearly something for me to shift, to change. So I thought, okay, let's reinvent myself. It may be that I reinvent myself as a writer, or who knows? And that's what I'm up for exploring. And I think this is what it's about. It's being willing to explore what's possible, recognizing that things aren't quite as you want them, but being willing to do something about it. So what were your thoughts, Namsa?
I love that, Carol, and I'm looking for a pen. I got the wrong pen. So I had to go looking for a pen, and my daughter, she's crawling under me. I'm like, you don't have to do that. I love that. I love that. Am I still muted, or did I mute?
No, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Yeah, I love that, because we do get stuck in life. But I think I have a question. I've got an answer for you, that I was looking for somebody who was talking about the experience of talking about the person who was a mathematician and they became the writer. So he was saying being a writer and a mathematician is all linked together, because you have to use your mind, you have to use your thoughts. So I was like, oh, Carol Ann should listen to this.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I was listening to it. I was like, yeah, I thought of you. I was like, oh yeah, she needs to listen to this, because the guy was saying, as a mathematician, if you're a mathematician, and this person is a brilliant writer, so before he was a mathematician or something. So I was like, oh, that's where Carol Ann's talent comes from. But sometimes we do get stuck with things and stuff. And when you do get stuck, I think when you do get stuck, you have questions within it. That's when you have to stop, because it means you are looking for a revelation. You need to stop like worrying and stop thinking about anything else and just let the answer comes through you. So I think that's when things do happen. And as long as you are somebody who doesn't get stuck and stay there. So when it comes to goals, when we create goals, there are times where you will create your goals and just get stuck with something, and then when the answer is revealed or somebody turns up unexpected to actually help you, and that's what life is about. So we have to embrace it in order for us to achieve our goals, and also be honest with our limiting beliefs. For me, I've just been, when I saw this topic, I was like, oh, reinventing myself to achieve my goals and dreams. And yesterday I was doing my induction for uni, which I finished it yesterday. And when you are tempted to move out of the chair, and this voice, I'm like, I'm doing the challenge. I'm going to sit down until I finish this. So I sat there until just before, I think until 11:30, 20 minutes before midnight. That's when I finished everything. So I wanted to move off the chair, and I was like, I'm staying here until it's all finished. So it's just being aware of the promises that you've made to yourself, and finishing those goals. And sometimes, some days, things are not gonna go the way you want, but you just, as long as you are aware, and you know what you really want to achieve in life. So that's I'm doing all that. The
Okay.
topic is for me. So I'm just gonna get some tips from you, Carol Anna, whatever it comes out of your whatever it comes up, and I'm just gonna
Yeah.
so to use
So
that.
I like that what you said about being aware of the commitment that you made to yourself,
Yeah,
and it honoring yourself comes first.
yeah,
There is that awareness. If you've made a commitment, it is about being your word, doing what you said you were going to do.
yeah,
And so that's one thing that you can look at, is where haven't you honored your word? Where haven't you done what you said you're going to be? Where's your integrity out? And that's some way, that you can reinvent yourself, is having more integrity. It's that simple. It's as simple as that. So that's one aspect to look at. And very often, integrity is something to look at, because when things aren't going right, it's usually because integrity is out.
yeah,
And so I think I need to look at, what is it I said I was going to do that I haven't yet done, that if I was to do that would make the difference. And then all of a sudden things might slot into place. I might get a different sense of myself, so that's something to look at. But it is, first of all, the first thing to do is to look at what have you done. It's sort of, just do an assessment, reassess where you're at, and what have you done? What's your strengths? What's your weaknesses? What have you achieved? What haven't you achieved? What are your successes? What's your failures? And just list them all without judgment. But it's creating a picture of what is so right now. And from there, you can then say, well, okay, that doesn't work for me. That amount of failing, I failed to do that. I failed to achieve that. What do I need to do to actually create success in that area? Or just decide, well, okay, I'm letting it go. Declare that bit complete. You choose, you get to choose, you get to reinvent yourself. So it's there, going from there, reset your goals. Just reset things and look at your habits. what are your habits that got you to where you are now? Is there something there that you could change? So certainly assess yourself in all these different ways and reevaluate them. And how could you just make a tweak or maybe a big change? It's up to you at the end of the day, because it's your life and it's what you want out of life. Do you want to be stuck in a rut? Do you want to be not really getting where I want to be? This isn't what I came for. This isn't what I wanted. Or, well, okay, let's do something about this. This has happened. This is what's so. What can I now do to move forward? And just have that constant awareness of what is so. And I know that through having that intention of reinventing myself this year, there's lots of little things have shown up. And I just feel like for me, it's a very subtle shift. Things are slowly, something is changing very slowly. And for me, that's how I've always done things. Maybe that somehow I could reinvent myself as someone who does something a bit more quickly. What would that look like? And it's like, oh, I don't know, because I'm not always one for doing things quickly. That's an interesting thought. What are your thoughts? What's come up for you? What's this brought up for you, Yonsa?
I love that, Carol Ann, because sometimes when we get stuck, it's either we have to let go of something, or sometimes we have to find a solution to actually get to where we need to be. And for me, is I do that as well, like what you just said, that I look at things really, really and evaluate them. And if I'm feeling stuck or feeling unfulfilled, if there is a part of my life where I am simply feeling unhappy and I feel that the direction where I'm taking, it doesn't make sense, or I need to tweak something, I always, instead of blaming myself, I'll approach it with the right mindset or ask for an advice. And when I ask for an advice, I normally don't ask friends or family members where I have to make a decision. I ask somebody who is a coach. I know that if I ask for some advice, I'll get the right answer, or simple, I just pray. And I find it when I pray and just hand it over to God, I always get revelation. Sometimes I'll get the revelation that I don't like, which is I have to change things. Or sometimes I get the revelation where I just have to be patient, because it is sometimes it's me wanting things to be done in my own way, my own time. And when it's not happening, I'm like, why things are not happening? So sometimes it will require me instead, because when you don't have patience, you may feel unstuck, even if you are not. So then when I get the revelation, it's me to stop worrying and get on with life and just wait, be patient with things. So then I will start being patient and start, when I stop worrying and when I stop and just open my mind to things to happen, that's when the opportunities will come along, and then I just get on with life. So sometimes we just have to understand that when we set goals, the timing that we want things to happen is not our timing. I know some people don't believe in God, and they don't believe in the universe, and they don't believe in the earth. Me, I believe in God. And there are some things where I just do things and really become like impatient. I'm like, why is it not happening? Why is this not happening? But when I actually put the energy out there, this is what I want, this is my desire, and I leave it as it is, and carry on with the other things, but I have to keep speaking positivity on it. I find that things do happen eventually, and I get there to where I want, where I need to be. But getting there, reinventing yourself, and achieving your goals, it requires a completely a strong mindset where you don't depend on somebody. You have to depend on your energy, and the energy, everybody has an angel that guides them through, whether they like it or not. People might say, oh, I don't believe in those things. Everyone has some guidance that they guide them through. It's just all about you listening to your guidance to guide you through to the journey where you need to go. Eventually you get there where you need to be. It requires the right mindset. It requires a good attitude. It requires you to have faith that things will happen, even if life does not make sense. I need to go on a holiday in Africa in July, and obviously I need to find somebody to cover to look after the company when I'm gone. But what I've done, I've just booked a holiday anyway. And I was like, I'm gonna sort that later. So I was like, I'm gonna book the holiday and I'll sort that later when that time is near. So after now the holiday is sorted out, now I have to sort it out. So that will happen. I'm not gonna stress either, because I'm surrounded by people that I trust. So I'm not gonna stress about anything. So if I don't find anybody, if you guys hear me saying, okay, guys, I need your help, so don't be surprised.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's what it's about.
Yeah.
And maybe that is a reinvention of yourself, because if you're not somebody who has asked for help in the past, you've just done it all yourself. Just that change. Okay, a simple change, but but not for everybody. Because if you are someone that's like, no, I've done this myself, I've got to do this myself, I can't ask for help. That's a big change. And to be able to make that shift and be able to ask for help and ask for support can have a massive impact. And so just that one way of reinventing yourself will be, be interesting to see how that feels. And just it's becoming aware of the resistance within you. And within that, there could be a temptation to, if things aren't quite going as you want it, say, oh, don't mind, I'll do it myself. Because sometimes that's where we get to. This is again where patience comes in, because it is about being able to ask and explain so that people can go, right, okay, I've got it, and get on board and be able to support you. So it comes down to communication, effective communication, being clear on what it is that you're asking for. What is it that you want from them? How, in what way can they support you? And once that's clear, it makes life a lot easier. So it is having that clarity so that you can communicate it. And it's also recognizing you may think that you're clear on how you've communicated it. It's getting feedback from that other person and asking, okay, what is it you think I've asked you to do, or how have I asked you, in what way have I asked you to support me, and get them to repeat it back to you. Because that way you then know that they've understood. You also get to know if they haven't, because it doesn't come back in the same way, or you'll find that the way they say it is not quite right. So in that conversation, you can then tweak it so that they may make sure that they do get understanding. And that was something that we used to do in Landmark when I used to assist with them. It was one of their distinctions, or one of their ways of being, an expectation that if you were given an instruction, to repeat it back. or if you've given somebody an instruction, ask them to repeat it back so that you know that the communication has landed. And it was such a refreshing change, and it's worth spending that bit of time doing it, because sometimes you think, oh, I haven't got time for that. Well, you haven't got time when something goes wrong because the person hasn't done what you asked them to do, because the communication didn't land. It didn't get there. And then all of a sudden it's all gone wrong, and you have to then re-explain it or do it yourself. And so for the sake of a little bit of time, make that effort to make sure that they understand, you know, what it is that you're asking for, and you understand what they're asking for. It's a two-way thing. So it's something that I've started getting my grandchildren to do occasionally. You know, when I've asked them to do something, I've said, right, what is it I've asked you to do? Repeat it back to me. And although they sort of look at me and it's like, no, I want to make sure that you fully understood. And most times they repeat it back, it's okay. And sometimes it's not. And I'm going, no, that isn't what I've asked you to do. You've missed something out. And so we can then make sure that it's fully understood. Makes all the difference in the world. So maybe it's, yeah, giving yourself that time and patience. Reinvent yourself as a patient person. I think that's a great reinvention for myself, actually, because that's been one of my life lessons is patience. I can so relate with you. Noms are saying, oh, I want it now. And it's like, no, I want it now. Why can't I have it now? And all you get is the answer, patience. And I remember many, many years ago going, oh, no patience. I want it now. Stamping my feet around. And then just letting go of that and going, okay, so what do you want me to do? And once I surrendered and let go and surrendered into being patient, all of a sudden a phone call happened, just who I needed to speak to in that moment. And what I've realized over the years is that actually you need to be patient, because at that moment in time, maybe what you want, everything else for you to have it isn't ready yet. There's other things that need to happen and to line up in order for you to get what it is you want. And I've had that experience so many times, when all of a sudden, you know, what I've wanted happens, and I've realized it couldn't happen earlier because there were certain things that needed to be in place before it could happen. So again, reinvent yourself as someone with patience is a great, great thing to do. So certainly, you know, recognize that. So I love, you know, what you were saying, and that you're saying, right, stop worrying. Oh, yes. If you're a worrier, so what you can do is reinvent yourself as somebody who doesn't worry to that extent, or redefine what the worrying is. Because obviously we need to have a little bit of concern, or is that sort of bit of question, but how much worrying do you do? So if you're a constant worrier, what's that doing to you physically, mentally, and emotionally? How's your health? Because you're worrying all the time. How is that impacting your relationships? Because you're worrying. If you could worry less, you know, find a balance of worrying. So reinvent yourself as somebody who doesn't worry as much, who can be more trusting, can be a bit more patient, can be a bit more settled. And recognize, well, what is it that has you worry? What is your fears? And address those fears. You know? So that's some great points there that you've been able to sort of move on with. So that's beautiful. So again, it's your attitude, isn't it? It's all your attitude about that, your mindset. Self-doubt, insecurity, transform that into certainty and security. You feel safe, secure, and you can move forward rather than being doubtful and unsure. What are the doubts? Find out. So there's lots of ways you can reinvent yourself. Maybe that it's starting to sound as it could be more simpler than you thought when you first heard the phrase. You know, it's not something huge and momentous and big. It's little things. You know, just pick one thing at a time. Don't have to do them all.
No.
Yeah. So what
Baby
else
steps.
Baby steps. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. I like when you talk about doubt, Carol Ann, because we intended to doubt our abilities. We create goals and then we doubt them when things don't happen how we want it to happen. We start doubting. And I've learned when I was doing this challenge, I've learned something as well, cutting the noise. When everybody else keeps saying cut the noise, I just kept following. But when I started my challenge, I made a decision that I'm not going to actually get involved where there is a disagreement or someone disagree with what I do. I'm not going to get involved. So I went into a different place with my mind where I accept people for who they are, accept myself for who I am, and just ask God's energy to actually help me through the journey that I'm going through, where I'm going. I've seen a big difference with this journey that I'm taking, and cutting the noise is very, very important when people if you are surrounded by people who are negative, that can affect you. At the time when everybody, when things has not happened, when you have not witnessed it, you don't know. But until that happens, I've realized that there's been so much negativity around me, and that negativity has been causing blockage my life moving forward. But when I actually said I'm going to make some changes in my life, I'm going to accept people for who they are, and I'm going to anyone who disagree with the journey that I'm taking, I'm just going to tell them, you know what? I don't know what is going on with my journey, but only God knows. I'm just going to accept God now to guide me through this journey. And I've seen a big difference. And also my mind is like I'm staying focused. And I know that in the process, when you do something, you make mistakes in life. So I come to accept that sometimes there are mistakes that cannot be undone. There are some mistakes that can be undone. And there is a journey that when you take that journey, things might not seem like a blessing, but the blessings are always there. It's just up to you to accept them. In order for you to, people like Bill Gates, for them to be where they were, they had to be tough. They had to believe in things that did not make sense. So this is what I'm doing. I'm believing in things that don't make sense. I'm letting God guiding me through. I said I always manifest for money, manifest for my business to do well, manifest for this. But now I'm manifesting for you, Mister, to actually guide me through. I was like, Gary, I now need you. I don't want to manifest for money or manifest for my relationship or my children. I need you to guide me through the blessings that I've meant to have. You are the ones that knows about them. So if I have you, you're going to give me what I want. So I'm like, and I need to take action. So what I'm doing now is I'm not worrying about anything. I'm just going through. I'm not going with the flow either. I'm taking action as I'm supposed to take action. and believing and having faith that he is walking with me. And I have seen a big difference with everything that I do. I've seen, like, sometimes the other day I got stuck with IT, student, everything crashed down with my university. No one could get through the website, get help. But I kept trying, fixing things myself. It took me 2 days. I'm not an IT person, but I didn't give up because there's faith in me. So I was like, I'm gonna keep trying this. I'm gonna keep trying this. So I went back to the video. I was like, I need to stay focused. So I make sure I watch step by step what I'm supposed to be doing. And before I knew it, I'd finished it, and I was like, wow, this is amazing. I don't have to ask for help. But then I've realized it's the attitude that I've decided to actually have in me that is carrying me through doing all these things. And yesterday I was doing my induction, and I was like, I'm just gonna keep it cool. Whatever is going on or whatever things gets tough, I'm just gonna keep it cool. So I kept it cool, I kept it cool and kept going. I was like, and then I finished. I was like, this is cool. So this is the attitude that I have now. And then after I finished, I was like, I'm doing things that I wouldn't have patience to do it. Honestly, I would be on the phone and asking for help with IT and saying, could you please help me? But I was like, I got this. I really got this. Because I'm asking Gary to actually, I made a decision. I was by the door and I was like, oh, so I feel powerless. And when I feel powerless, I think I need to change things, how I do things. Instead of me praying and saying, manifesting, my heart is manifesting for money, I need to manifest for God, himself. So since that day, I think it happened 3 weeks ago. Since that 3 weeks, I'm just doing. I was like, I'm loving this process. Honestly, Carol Ann, when I'm faced with challenges, I just stand still and tell myself, I got this. Just trust Nomsa. Nomsa, you got this. And then I'll keep trying and I keep trying until I get what I need to do, until I sort it out. But I don't just sort it out very easily. It's just me staying focused and me knowing where I need to go, and just keep trying and putting that mind, the mind, instead of me saying, I need Gary to give me 1 million. I'm saying, I need you to give me what you think I deserve, which is, for me in my heart, I desire to have you, but you are going to make a decision what you think I deserve as a human being. And when I'm talking to people where there is an argument, my friend was arguing in town with some guy, and before you know it, I did a runner. I left him arguing with people. I did a runner, and then he followed me, and he was like, oh, and I was like, I just had a chat with him, and then he left. I didn't even talk about why he was arguing or anything. So I'm just keeping it cool and bringing that energy that I feel that I should have this energy, and the energy that I don't want, I just leave it there. And now I come to realizing that that's why when these big speakers say you cut the noise, that's what they mean. Honestly, I just, there's this energy that I've never had before. When I've decided that I'm going to cut the noise. And when I was talking to my mom, I was like, when I was doing this challenge, I was like, okay, my dad is not here anymore, and my stepdad and my stepmom. So I've got my mom. So I just need to keep her closer and look after her, and she looks after me. And that's the attitude that I have now, that, you know what, I'm just going to keep it cool. I'm reinventing myself. I'm reinventing my goals when things get tough. It's not about me saying, okay, today I'm going to manifest for my day to be good. I just want the God himself. I say out loud as well. So over to you, Carol Ann.
I love it. I love it. There's that walk away.
Yep.
Walk away. And it's having that faith and belief in yourself and confidence in yourself. And what
Yep.
I'm hearing is that everything we've been talking about all this time, you're taking it on board, because we talk about a lot of this, and a lot of the topics that we talk about are all aspects and ways that you can reinvent yourself. And so this is what I'm hearing, is you listened, and things are now starting to shift, and you're actually taking them on board even more and taking action with them. And that's, that's like joy to my heart. It's like, yay, and this is what it's about. This is what can happen. And it is recognizing that it didn't happen overnight.
Yep.
It's what, 2.5 years we've been talking on this show.
Yeah.
And now you can feel the joy that is starting to creep in, because you're able to take the action. Your faith and your belief and trust is deepening. And the responses and what you're getting back is becoming much more, but it's also remembering that struggles are normal. Very often we put up a prayer and say, or we set a goal and say, I'm, going to do this. You set that intention, then you get tested.
Yep.
It's like, really? How much is your commitment to this then? Try this with all those eyes. And the biggest challenge ever comes your way. And you think, oh my goodness, really? Did I ask for this? But it's, again, sitting with that and recognizing, yes, the struggles come, the curveballs come, the hurdles come, and they're always of you being able to strengthen you. And they're all answers in some way to your prayer of where you want to go, what you want to achieve. And although they might not seem like it at the time, if you can look at it in that way, that's where you will be able to then work through it and make it work for you. And realize that these things are not happening to you, they're happening for you.
Yep.
And again, it's just that little switch of mindset. So, were you somebody who struggled with these curveballs, or gave in, or just went, oh God, why is this happening to me? Not again, reinvent yourself as someone's okay, right. Why is this happening for me? In what way is it happening for me? Can you feel that difference? It's like you're taking charge. You can bring that energy into it. And then you'll get the answers, and much more quickly. And it's okay to go in that bit of a slump to start with. If it's a really big curveball and a really big challenge, one that really knocks you for 6, it's like, oh. And it's okay to be there for a while. Feel what's there. The key is, okay, how quickly can you get out of it? How quickly can you learn from that? Recognize where you're at and go, right, I'm taking charge of this. And I'm going to get out of this. And what is it I need to do to be able to move forward? What's the lesson that's here?
Yep.
That's the key. That's the game, and sometimes you get a bit stuck in the rut of that. Poor me. Oh, again.
Yeah. And the blaming game.
Yeah, the blaming game. Oh, it's their fault. Everyone else's fault. They shouldn't have done that. And it's like, okay, it happens. Just look at what happened, and that's it. And not what you make it mean, because that's where all the emotion and the turmoil come. It's like, this is what happened. I move with that. So certainly recognize that struggle is normal. And as much as part of me wants to go, well, why should it be normal? Why do we classify it as normal? Why can it not be not the norm? Why can't it be easy? Well, what do you actually learn if it is that easy? As I said, the key is how quickly can you reinvent yourself, change, transform
Yes.
with that struggle. That's what makes it easy. Because that all of a sudden it's like, oh. And by constantly reinventing yourself, it's an opportunity to discover yourself in
Yep.
different ways, what you actually are capable of, truly capable of, that maybe you had no idea that was possible. So, keep reinventing yourself. I love what Eric Thomas says. If you are not where you want to be, do not quit. Instead, reinvent yourself and change your habits.
I love that.
Lovely, isn't it?
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Keep
yeah.
going. There's always something you can do.
Yeah, and also your identities and your values, your priorities, your identifying your priorities as well is very important, because I was like, I'm not doing this. I was like, okay, I went to church the other day and my pastor was talking about being powerless. He was like, when your life is not moving forward, it means you are being powerless. Instead, you can ask the power of God, the raw power of God to fall upon you so you can move forward with your life and not being attacked by the enemy. So then I go online and somebody's talking about powerlessness. And then I went to somebody else and somebody else, I was like, okay, now this powerlessness, it needs to stop now. I am no longer going to pray for Nkosi talk shows or Hope Springs Eternal Introduction Agents or finances or marriage or whatever that I've been doing. I was like, okay, so I need to understand this power of God, how it really, really works. I'm reinventing myself. And everything fall into place with Matthew Hans's challenge. And when I was doing that, I came across with his thing on my email with the link. I was like, confidence. I was like, okay, I can't say no to things like this. I need to sign up and see what happens. So I signed up, and then in this powerlessness, it came again. Everything got linked together. I was like, okay, we were meant to actually do something or go to a city where we've never been and do things, then get to know the city and find your way through like a confidence, or go and do some activities for 30 days that you've never done it before. So I was like, okay, for me, it has to be the prayer. I've never actually asked the power of God to actually help me. I've always prayed for God to help me with my finances. I was like, now I need him. I want no finances. I need him. If I pray for him to actually get closer to me, he will do it everything else. He will help me to get creative, will help me with my mindset. He will help me to have actually ways of how to make money. So I always say money, like when I pray, I'm manifesting for money. I was like, I can't do that no more. And I have seen the big changes, the really, really big changes. The other day I did something and I was like, let me see what happened. I was like, oh, okay, this is happening. This energy is actually happening. So I'm just going for it. So honestly, I am really, really going for it. I use my different prayers every single day. But before I end this prayer, I have to ask him his power to fall upon him. Yesterday I did it. I couldn't walk. I think I was dragged by the Holy Spirit. I couldn't walk. I was like, I need to come down now.
Okay.
I couldn't walk. I kept falling up, and I was like, as long as working, God, as long as you're closer, I'm just up for it. But you know what? It's the things, the knowledge that sometimes when you don't have the knowledge, Now I do understand when Tony Robbins said he had to actually memorize the Bible, what he meant. In order for you to actually, because God created the earth, in order for you to understand the principles of living, the principles of living are actually in the Bible. So everything is just fall together. I was like, that's why these people, they are who they are. They learn the principles of life. And the principles of life are in the Bible, because even Les Brown as well, he says the same thing, that he had to memorize the Bible. There are so many speakers that they say they had to memorize the Bible. So I was like, now I'm praying for him, for his power to actually fall upon me. Now I'm beginning to actually do things that I wouldn't dream of doing things. It's like I was telling you about Kayla's date, that he missed the appointment. He took a day off. He's saying he has an appointment, but he didn't read it through the email, the whole email, to actually say to reply and say, yes, I'll be free. So he just assumed. And so I'm like, did you actually reply to the email? If you didn't get a Zoom link, did you reply? He goes, which email? So it's like, at the bottom of the email, there's a part where it says, for the appointment, you need to let us know by. Did you reply that part? Because I didn't see that part. So then he scrolls down to, he goes, okay. So then he replied, and I was like, okay, I'm going to keep it cool. Although this appointment is very, very important, but he will make a way. It's very, very important. Kayla could lose her place. So I was like, he will make a way. So I'm sitting there keeping my cool. I'm laughing. He's annoyed, and I'm just laughing at myself. So I'm keeping it cool, Carol Ann. If you guys want to bring it on, you can bring it on. I'm just keeping everything cool. So I was like, I'm just going to keep it cool, because this thing of asking for God instead of me manifesting or writing goals, I write goals. Every single day I write goals. When I write goals, then I have to put up a prayer out there, and then I call him out. He's a person. So I call him out and say, this is what I need to do. And I don't ask for him to do these things for me. I just ask him to get closer to me, and that's it. And everything else, it just happened on his own. And when I was doing that a few days ago, and there was something like in the energy that came in and says, you have gone mad. And I was like, yes, I have gone mad.
Okay. Noms has gone mad.
Yeah, I was like,
Nice.
yeah, I have gone mad. I was like, yes, I have gone mad. This energy might be the energy that is here to stop me. And I was like, if you're here to stop me, you can't. So I just kept it, left it like that. So I'm no longer asking Carol Ann for anything. I go in the Bible, I just read the scriptures, I put my prayer out there, and I write my goals. I do everything, write my goals and stuff. I had a meeting the other day, and this woman, she was talking about how things are difficult they are. And there was a little bit of fear to actually do things, like saying you writing things and doing some research is going to be difficult for the level that I'm on. But when I came out, there was a little bit of fear. But when I finished, I started praying. I was like, okay, I'm good. I'll be okay. Yeah, it's just, I think it's just when it comes to life, it's just trusting and cutting the noise, because we intend to let people tell us what we can't do, what we can, our goals, how they are too small, how they are too big. And we find ourselves defending our goals. So I think when people saying cut the noise, you just have to cut the noise by not being arrogant. Ego and being arrogant, it doesn't work. Staying true to yourself and embracing your beliefs, knowing who you are as a person. If you are somebody that people picks on you, so you have to pick your fight, not just going around and fighting with everybody else and arguing with everybody else. So you have to live with integrity means I know who I am, I know my identity, I know my values, and I know where I'm going, which is Carol Annie, you've been telling me that. Okay? How come I can't hear you?
It's okay. I got you. I think this is the point that you've listened, and sometimes we don't always hear things
Yeah.
the first time it's said, and maybe not the second or the third or the fourth, but it's allowing yourself to keep hearing it, because eventually something goes, oh, really? And it's like, even though you've heard it before, all of a sudden it's like, I hear it, I get it, and you do something about it, you know? So that's brilliant. Yeah.
And also, you know, when every time I talk to you, there's something that it kept annoying me. Like you say, maybe you need to find out why this person is reacted the way they've reacted. It could be inside something that is inside. So then I was like, when my pastor talked about the battles that we fight are inside, I was like, okay, I had enough of hearing this. Okay, I need to face this battle that is inside of me. So she kept going on about it, and now he's going on about it. Okay, that means that I am powerless. That means there's a battle that I need to battle inside. So then I realized, actually in life, there's somebody who is going to disagree with me, but it doesn't mean that I have to enter that story. And also, if I am really, really confident with the things that I'm doing, that should not affect me inside. So that's why I've decided to work on my inner being, like Carol Ann suggested, like my pastors suggested. He wasn't talking to me, he was just preaching. The man saying sometimes the battles that we fight, the enemy is within us. So I decided to search through this enemy that is within me. So I realized, okay, I take time planning, doing some research, and getting professionals for some advice, and then things gets approved, and then somebody comes in and then they're negative, and that person should know better. And then I realized that they shouldn't. Everyone is entitled for their opinion.
Absolutely.
But it does not mean they're right. So I've been taking some of the things personal. So that is the battle that I've been battling for the past few weeks, and that is gone. You can say whatever you want now. You can say whatever you want to Carol. So I'm good. I'm really good. But the good thing that I'm happy about is you kept saying, every time I ask for an advice, it does not make sense, but she goes, don't you think there is something, or this, and then I go, I'm like, inside, I don't feel anything. But when I started actually praying for God, the power of God to fall upon me, I was like, I don't want no finances. I don't want, you know what I want? I need God. And then when I was praying, and then my mouth went out something else, and I was like, no, I need God. That's what I'm looking for right now. That is my desire. Everything else will be added to me as long as I have Him to guide me through how everything will be sorted out. That's when I came to understand that I need to work more and more and more. My confidence needs to come from my core, so that I understand where I'm going, the journey that I'm going, and if something comes in to direct me to the wrong direction, I need to respond, not to get upset about it. God does not get upset. I need to not to get upset. I need to accept whatever is going on, accept it, receive it with grace, and just be politely and move on from that conversation. If it's a conversation that is, I don't need to give attention, or if I need to explain to somebody why I believe in my dreams, and just explain to them so we don't go back to that conversation. So, so that is the thing that I have decided, that I didn't decide, actually, it just came into my heart. Now, this is what is gonna happen. And
it doesn't necessarily need, yes, for you it's God. For a lot of people it's God. For others there's something, they call it something else.
yeah.
So it may be that, it's the universe, or there's another word that they've got for that supreme being.
Yeah.
And it's whatever it is for them.
Yeah.
To align themselves with and call in. Or it may just be, you call it your higher self.
Yeah.
It's whatever works for you. But it's that going in and aligning yourself with that fully. That's where your confidence and strength is.
Yeah.
And it is doing that inner work.
It comes from the inside.
It does.
And if you don't have confidence, we're talking about normal confidence. If you have normal confidence, whatever pops in, it will trigger something that is already in there. So you have to, that's why you have to work more of yourself. But this challenge has taught me a lesson that sometimes we think we got life figured out, but we haven't. And also the prayer that I've decided to actually change my prayer has taught me a lesson that sometimes I thought just by focusing on that, my life is going to be all wonderful when somebody says manifest like this, but it hasn't worked how I've been manifesting. But until one day I've decided, you know what? Everybody around me keeps talking about when you're powerless, the enemy will attack you. When you don't have the anointing of God, the enemy will attack you. And I was like, okay, so it means I'm being attacked. Me, everything that makes sense. I am actually the person that admits, like, if I need to work with something, I admit and say, you know what? I need to change some things in my life. I don't feel ashamed in doing all those things because it helps me to grow. It helps me to actually grow with my mindset and my inner being as well, when I'm actually admitting to me that I need to make some improvement, reinventing myself. Because some people will be like, what is wrong with me? Why do you think I have to? I'm sure some people, when I said I'm working on my confidence, they were like, why does she have to do that? Yes, I'm a relationship coach. And Matthew Hazy is a relationship coach. But sometimes you have to go deep. When it comes to life, you have to go deep and find out what's on the other side. And when you do find out what's on the other side, you don't want to go back to that side that you've been. Like myself, I don't want to go back to, when the day we had a meeting, Carol Ann, I don't want to go back to that energy anymore. I just want to, I like this energy that entered my life, that is amazing. That's the energy that I like, the energy that helped me through, that helps me realize that I am not different than anybody else. But the difference between me is I'm able to cry out and say, God, have mercy on me. I'm a broken soul. To admit that, God, I'm a broken soul. Help me. Okay. So, and I believe that when you have that attitude, and these people that are billionaires, whatever they are, they have the same attitude. So I'm adopting that attitude, and I'm just going to be me. I'm going to run to every argument that I come across. I will run. And what I've been doing as well, it's like there are some people who don't understand the power of personal development. So I have family in Africa. I've been actually removing people who are bringing negativity on my Facebook. So I've been removing them, but not because I'm better than them or what, is because I care about them. In my heart, I care. So I don't want them to get offended with the post that I post on Facebook. So I've been removing people because I like talking about my mom, and somebody sent me a message is like, don't talk about my mom. And I was like, but she's my mom and I love her very much. So if you don't want to hear it, so I'm just gonna remove it. So it's all those little things that you just have to actually remove people from your life. And when you do remove them, you have to pray for them. Because when you do pray for them, God will have mercy and God will protect them. He will not allow the enemy entering their life, because at that moment you have to take out the ego, kill the ego, and just realize that we are not in the same mindset as we are, but you're not going to hold me. So at the moment, I'm going to keep walking until you catch me with your mind.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's, I love what you said about someone will disagree with you. Lots
Yeah.
of people will disagree with you, but it's not taking it personally.
No.
It's just their point of view. That's all it is. And once you can be in that space of, well, okay, they disagree. Doesn't mean they're right, but maybe there's something just to listen to, just to have a listen to it and go, well, okay, have they got a point there that's worth me taking on board? Is there something I can learn from this or not? You have a choice. That's the beauty. Whereas if you take it personally and you get upset, that's when you're powerless. That's when they've got the power because you've let their words impact you. They have a point of view. You have a right to a point of view. They have a right to a point of view. And if it's not one that's saying, well, you're wrong or you're to blame, or that it's about, this is what I think.
Yeah.
I'm disagreeing with you.
Yeah.
Because
and they have a right to do so. They have a right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We've all got our own ways of looking at something. And actually, it's quite intriguing how someone else can be thinking, because it may be a way that you've never even thought of before. And what comes to mind is when I was in a mastermind meeting once, and I was asking people about, retreats. And because this was when I was sorting out my writing retreat. It's a few years ago now. And I just wanted to get some ideas, what people thought of about, what they thought a retreat was. And this one gentleman said, well, actually, he said, when I hear the word retreat, he said, I just want to retreat from life. I just go. And I'm thinking, wow, I hadn't even thought about that. But it gave me another angle on which I could hook things.
Yeah.
And another phrasing. It's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. But he nearly didn't say it. He said, oh, I'm not sure if this is right. I said, doesn't matter. Everything is welcome, because you just never know what someone might say. And you can go, okay, yes, I get that. And I can work with that, or just know it's not for me right now. It doesn't mean anything, and that's the beauty. And that's where you take back your power.
Yeah.
And then you stop feeling powerless. So absolutely. It's a lot here we could carry on discussing, I think.
It's
And
17 minutes
I realize
past,
where the
Carol
time is
Ann.
at.
Yep.
Yes.
It's time to go.
Absolutely. It's just been amazing where, the avenues we've gone down. So maybe we could come back, revisit it again.
Yeah, we could do part 2.
See where we're at. Yeah. So I'd just like to leave people with, I've got quite a few quotes here, but there's one. This one, I think. People who cannot invent and reinvent themselves must be content with borrowed postures, second-hand ideas, fitting in instead of standing out. That's by Warren Bennis. The choice is yours, isn't it? Do you want to stand out? Do you want to fit in? What is it you want? And I think that's the main thing that we started with in reinventing yourself. Assess where you're at and go, right, what is it I actually want? And then go from there. And actually play with it, have fun. As you can hear, we play around with it, have fun. You know, do you have fun in life? Is the fun there in your life? If it's not, why not? So that's, yeah, I'd love to leave you with that. And I can be found on LinkedIn, Facebook. My name is Caroline Cooper. I'm the writing facilitator and supporting people with their writing, helping them to find themselves, go in, do some inner work, unlock that writer within, and do some healing at the same time, and get this story written. And I do have a Facebook group called Get Your Book Written. So come and find me. I'd love to have a conversation with you. And maybe you could reinvent yourself through that. Who knows?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Carol Ann. And for me, I just want to leave the audience, reinventing yourself is possible. And with the right mindset and the right attitude, and also prioritize your values and your beliefs. And also your identity is very, very important. And also just when you do something in life, you have to actually value yourself. The more you value yourself, and other people will value you as a person, that energy will go out there and bring you a good energy. And never ever let anyone affirm your destination. The mistakes that we make people affirm our destination. There's a big difference getting the professionals who have the skills to help you to achieve than asking for somebody advice and then they say one word that is negative and the whole plan falls apart. So that's where I was, where I'm like, this person does not understand the time and effort that I put creating this, or the people that I brought in. Who do they think they are? But what I didn't know was we all have a choice and the right to our own opinion, but it does not mean that people's opinion can carry me through life. And so just be the person that you want to be by living with integrity, and use your beliefs to get to where you need to go. For me, my beliefs are God. I just put God before anything else, and anything else, it falls into place. Even when life, it does not make sense. There are some things that I've never been aware, but now I'm starting to be aware that sometimes I do things. That's why my family, they're like, no, so you're bonkers, because I do things. Sometimes I don't even know where I'm going, but God knows. And I get there. But it's scary. But to me, it's not scary. It scares the other people, but to me, it's not scary, because when you make a choice, you don't have to make choices that are always comfortable. Sometimes you have to make choices, bigger choices, and just stand by your decision. And that's what I'm trying to say, guys. Make a decision and just go for it. No excuses. So God bless. And we are here at Ngozi Talk Shows Monday to Friday, 1 p.m. UK time. If you want to get in touch with Carol Ann, please do. And if you're watching us on YouTube, please subscribe to our channel. And we have a membership on YouTube as well, where you can actually, when we are live, you can talk to the coaches privately. So you can have that membership. Or if you're watching us on our Facebook page, please like our Facebook page and follow us and give us some stars. We have a group, Ngozi Talk Shows group and Unique Billionaire Mindset group, so you can join those groups. God bless. Live with grace.